So far, we've learned about function form and standard form. Remember, the word form simply means how information is organized, all right? So what is function form? Anybody? What's function form? Y equals, right? Function form is when you get y by itself. Okay, so function form is getting y by itself. When you have an equation with y by itself, it's great when you want to find inputs and outputs, when you want to plug in x values and get out y values. And of course, we use an input-output table, an x-y table for that. So having y by itself is great for finding coordinates, for plugging in numbers, pulling out answers. Standard form is this latest one that we've been talking about. And does that one have y by itself?
Yeah,
no. What could you tell me about standard form? It doesn't have y by itself, so what's on one side, what's on the other?
AX plus BX equals C.
That's correct. AX plus BY equals C, where A, B, and C are just numbers, no fractions, no decimals, okay? So what's the difference between function form? Function form would be like something like this. Y equals 2x minus 1. Standard form would be something like 2x plus y equals minus 1. All right? So standard form has both the x's and the y's on the left side of the equal sign and the number by itself on the right side. Function form has the y by itself on the left side of the equal sign and everything else on the right side. So once again, when you have y by itself, it's like a machine. It's really easy to plug in a 0 right there and do the math. 2 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So the input 0 gives you the output negative 1. And you could keep plugging as many numbers as you want. Function form is great for plugging in numbers. Standard form is great for what? Anybody? Standard form is great for what? What did we do with standard form yesterday, guys? Come on. What did we do? Standard form is great for finding x and y intercepts. You guys forgot? X and y intercepts. All right, so what is an x-intercept? It's the location of where your line crosses the x-axis. What's a y-intercept? It's the location of the line where it crosses the y-axis. Okay, so when you have an equation with x's and y's on the left side, no fractions, no decimals, and the number by itself on the right side of the equal sign, it's great to be able to find the x-intercept where it crosses the x-axis and the y-intercept where it crosses the y-axis. How do we find the x-intercept? Anybody? We learned this yesterday. To find the x-intercept, what?
You set y to 0?
Yes, you set y equal to 0. To find the y-intercept,
You set x to 0?
you set x equal to 0. That's exactly right. To find the x-intercept, set y equal to 0 and solve. To find the y-intercept, you set x equal to 0 and solve. Everybody needs to know this, right? So let's say I had a standard form equation. Give me a number, anybody. Give me a number. 8x minus 4y equals 24. I'm just making this up, right? Okay. Now, this blue equation is in standard form, and I could graph it by rewriting it in function form. I could get y by itself. I could subtract 8x, divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4, and then I could make an input-output table. But if it's in standard form, it's great to find x and y intercepts. So I could easily find the x-intercept by setting y equal to 0 and solving. And once you get really good at this, you're just going to cover it up. Because if you set y equal to 0, then there is going to be no negative 4y. Negative 4 times 0 is 0. It's not even there. And this looks like an equation that reads 8x equals 24. So what's my x-intercept?
0.
3. Because you divide by 8 on both sides. So your x-intercept is 3. Right? Let's just write that down right here. X-int. And I'm doing this without showing any work. Okay? How do you find the y-intercept? Well, to find the y-intercept, you have to set x equal to 0 and solve. So imagine if I cover up the x term. What's my y-intercept answer going to be? It's going to be negative 6. Perfect. Okay? So the x-intercept is 3. The y-intercept's negative 6. You could actually graph just like that without doing any work. Check it out. I want to graph it right here. X-intercept at 3 is 1, 2, 3. And y-intercept at negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know it crosses here and there. And you just draw your line and that would be the graph of your line. Pretty easy, pretty awesome. Now, on certain questions on the quiz at the end of this week, we're going to have to graph by dragging these two dots on the x-axis and on the y-axis and putting it at the x-intercept and y-intercept, and that's your graph, that's your answer. But there's going to be other questions where I just say, hey, here's your equation, and I want you to just find the x-intercept, and I want you to put it in the form of a coordinate, okay? So we already know the x-intercept's 3, but what would that location actually be? That location would actually be what? Anybody?
0,
3, 0. Think about it. X, Y. You got to do the x first. 3, and you don't go up or down. It's right there. So 3, 0 is the location of that x-intercept. What's the y-intercept location at -6? What's that actual coordinate location? 0, -6. Perfect. Guys get it? Yeah. Okay, great. So that's a little review. We have an assignment on quizzes, and some questions just say, just find the y-intercept and write it as a coordinate. Some just say, just find the x-intercept and write it as a coordinate. Some say, rewrite your equation in standard form, okay? That means that you don't want fractions or decimals. So like, here's an equation. Let's say y equals 2/3 x minus 4. That's a function form, but let's say I wanted to rewrite in standard form. That will be a question on today's assignment, and will be a question on Friday's quiz. How do I go about writing it in standard form? Well, first of all, you need to know what a standard form is. Standard form is ax plus by equals c, and there's a reason why I put capital, because those are numbers, but you want them to be nice numbers, integers. You want them to be positive or negative numbers, no fractions, no decimals. And of course, you want the x and the y on the left side of the equal sign and the number by itself on the right side. So look at this red equation. What do I need to do to it to change the way it looks? It's like a piece of clay. You want to change the shape, change the form to standard form. What do I do? Multiply by 3 will get rid of that fraction. That's absolutely correct. Times 3, that'll cancel out, but you have to multiply everything by 3. This times 3, that times 3. So you're going to end up with 3y equaling 2x minus 12. Is it in standard form? Not yet. Almost. I got rid of the fraction, or we got rid of the fraction. So what else do I need to do to get that in standard form? Yeah, get rid of that 2x, move it to the left by doing the opposite of it. And when we do to one side, do to the other side. Now, we know that we can't subtract x's from y's. They're not like terms. So you're just going to rewrite it. So your standard form equation will be a negative 2x with a positive 3y equaling a negative 12. The negative 12 just comes down. So this is your standard form equation. Another acceptable answer would be a positive 2x, a negative 3y, and a positive 12. But you could just leave it like that. So there's some questions where I tell you, find the x-intercept. How do you do that? You set y equal to 0 and solve. There's some questions where I say find the y-intercept. You set x equal to 0 and solve. There's some questions where I say change this equation to standard form. And that's what we just did right now. There's some equations where I'll tell you change this to a function form. Okay, so if you wanted to change this to a function form, you would have to, wait a minute, that's ugly. Let me get this out of the way. If you wanted to change this to a function form, it's just working backwards. You want to get y by itself, you'd have to go plus 2x. It would be 3y equals 2x minus 12. And then you divide by 3, y equals 2/3 x minus 4. So I could tell you to change it back to function form or standard form, okay? I could tell you find the x-intercept or find the y-intercept. I could give you a function form equation and tell you use an input-output table to find more coordinates and graph it. Or I could give you a standard form and tell you graph it by using your x-intercepts and your y-intercepts. All right, I've been talking too much. Let's open up our Chromebooks and let's get started on today's assignment.